Are you tired of the same old vocabulary drills that leave your students snoozing at their desk? Well, I've got some good news for you. ChatGPT is a new artificial intelligence tool that will hopefully help you shake up your vocabulary instruction and get your students excited about learning new words. My name is Thomas Bussey. I'm a 5th grade teacher in Atlanta with a pretty good track record of helping my students grow in their reading skills as well as their vocabulary. And today I'm really excited about using ChatGPT. So the goal here is student engagement, getting your students interested and engaged in whatever activity you're doing, even if it's something as simple as homework. If you know anything about me, you know that I am a big fan of storytelling. It is, in my opinion, the #1 way to engage anybody of any age. Storytelling is the very thing that will make this little red rock that you could probably buy at Dollar Tree, and it turns it into the one and only Sorcerer's Stone, something that you can actually now buy online for like 30 bucks just for this exact same thing. Why would anybody spend $30 on something that is probably pretty cheap to make? Storytelling. It's the stories that connect us to the content. So using ChatGPT to connect our students with their vocabulary through storytelling is going to be very powerful. I've been playing with it for about a week or so, and I think I've come up with something that will really get my students excited about vocabulary, and so I want to share it with you. So the first thing that I want to do is select 1 or 2 students from my class and actually include them in the story that I have ChatGPT write. I also want to think of a few key details about those students, things that I know about them, just to really personalize the story. Including my students in the story will make them, those specific students, more engaged in it, but it will also have their classmates more interested, and students will anticipate when it's their opportunity, when it's their turn to be featured in one of these stories. So I'm logged into ChatGPT, and down here at the bottom, I'm able to type in my prompt. So I'm going to name the students, I don't know, Fred and George, right? So the Lexile level 940L. This allows me to make sure that the story is as rigorous as I need it to be for my classroom. And if I want to, I could actually have it rewrite the story at a different Lexile level if I want to give it to students who are at varying levels and differentiate it. Now I can add in some extra details. So I'm just adding a few more details to let ChatGPT know what kind of story I'm looking for. So now I hit submit, and it starts the story. Fred was a small, scrappy 5th grade boy with a head full of unruly brown hair and a heart full of determination. Despite his size, he was always ready for a challenge, especially when it came to defending his friends. His classmate, George, was the smartest kid in the class and always seemed to have all the answers. But there was one thing about George that very few people knew. He had the ability to turn into the Incredible Hulk when he got really angry. One fateful day, an evil vampire came into their small-town elementary school looking to cause trouble. Fred and George knew they had to stop him, but they knew they couldn't do it alone, right? So now I have this story, but what does this have to do with vocabulary? So the next thing I'm going to do, and I could have included this in the original prompt, I can say rewrite the story to include the following vocabulary words. And I'm going to type in the 10 vocabulary words that I want my students to study this week. So, okay. So now ChatGPT is rewriting it. So now it's changed it to Fred was a visionary 5th grade boy who had a head full of unruly brown hair. So you can see where they're weaving in the vocabulary words into the story. My goal, I have a couple of options here. One thing that I can do is have the students read the story, tell them what the words are that they're looking for, and have them highlight the words in the story. And then using the context clues that are written in the story, I can have them try to come up with their own working definition of the words. I think that this will be more fun and interesting because One, it's a story where my students are actually being superheroes, fighting this evil vampire, right? Another option is I can take the vocabulary words out of the story and replace them with blank lines. And after introducing my students to the vocabulary words, I can have them go in and try to fill in the blanks. In addition to that, once the story is written, I can actually go back in and not only use this to teach vocabulary, also to reinforce their reading comprehension skills. So I can ask ChatGPT to write 5 multiple choice comprehension questions based on the story. Make sure that the questions are DOK 2 or DOK 3. Remember to ask it to also give you the answers. And now I have my very own teacher answer key. And this is an original story, a unique story that my students can't go online and find the answers to because it's only available in the chat that I had with ChatGPT. That about wraps up one of the ways that I plan on using ChatGPT. I'm also going to use this storytelling tool to create immersive lessons for my students, engaging lessons to get them really excited about all of my other content that I'm teaching. If you'd like to learn more about that, check out the video popping up on the screen. And until next time, happy teaching.